There are a lot of people out there who are just waiting to take advantage of older people. Is you want to stay the spouse, the adult child, the grandchild. You don't want to become the nagger, the bully, the witch. Oh, you're a daughter for hire. No, I'm not. My strength is I'm not your daughter. I'm not too close. People say to me, you're a saint, and I'm not a saint. I'm a really good professional. And I think that's really important.
Welcome to Connecting is Caring, a podcast of New Wave Home Care. We are a home care agency based in Pasadena, California. Connecting is Caring is the podcast where we connect the dots within the community. We connect the resources within the community. We connect the gems. We connect the stories. So we bring to you today a wonderful guest today who is a care manager. Let me introduce. Some people don't just manage care. They study the entire family. Brenda Shorkend is that rare presence, calm, deeply human, and quietly holding the village together when it matters most. When everything feels urgent and uncertain, Brenda Shorkend is the person you want by your side. Thoughtful, grounded, and deeply present. I'm so honored today to sit down with Brenda Shorkend. Brenda, thank you for being on the show. You and I, we have known each other for 13, 14 years now. Mm-hmm. It's such a pleasure to have you on our show today.
Well, thank you, Sam. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Before you started Shorkend Care, you lived in several different countries, several different continents. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the short version is that I was born in South Africa. I lived in England, and then I lived in Israel for many years. And I moved here in 2002.
2002, okay.
To Pasadena in 2002.
Mm-hmm. And did you work in England for some time?
No, I was a kid. So I actually grew up in Israel, and I went to university there. And that's where I became a rehabilitation psychologist. So I'm not licensed in the US. So I can't say I'm a psychologist, but I definitely bring that experience.
It definitely helps in what you're doing.
To my work. What was interesting about my work is that I worked mostly with older people inpatient and outpatient within the medical system, in rehab, and mostly people with neurological illness, like dementia, Parkinson's, stroke, and also developmental disabilities. So those were just skills that I brought with me into the field of care management.
Definitely, that's those are tools you can easily use every day in what you do, right? But before you started Shorkend Care, between 2002 to when you actually started, when did you start Shorkend Care?
2012.
2012. So for the first 10 years, what did you do? What was your life?
Well, it started out, I moved here with my ex-husband and my 2 kids. And so I was taking care of the kids. I found one job, and then I was really, really lucky to fall into a job at Huntington Hospital Senior Care Network here in Pasadena.
In Pasadena.
And at the time, Huntington Hospital had what's called fee-for-service care management. In other words, we were paid a salary, but families paid for the service privately.
Okay.
And that's where I learned the nuts and bolts of care management, because I had the most amazing supervisors, mentors, colleagues who taught me this work, which of course is very different to psychology and therapy. And after that, I went through a number of jobs. I couldn't work for a while because of, about the whole thing of going from a working visa to a trailing spouse visa to a green card to a this and a that. So it was a whole process. And then when I lost a job in 2010, in a way it's similar to you. What am I going to do? I had some people who told me, start your own business. So I never saw myself as a business owner, but that's what I became. And so then I launched my business in 2012.
Starting a business, it's easier said than done, right? The stress, the anxiety, and the fear of the unknown. How do you deal with all that?
I don't know. Now it's easy.
no, it looks easy. Yeah.
It's never easy, but now I know what I'm doing. Then I knew how to do care management. I had no idea how to run a business. And so I got a lot of help, actually from the Small Business Development Center and from different mentors just to help me pull it together. People
you worked with at Huntington, were they helpful when you started the business?
Absolutely. So those connections helped. Even though it was a number of years since I'd worked there, definitely my connections there helped me to just sort of find my place in the community. Also, unlike you with home care, there are not many care managers out there. People who are members of my national association, the Aging Life Care Association. I'm a certified care manager. I'm also a fellow of the Leadership Academy of the Aging Life Care Association. And there are just not many of us out there. So once you find one of us, it's great because the competition is not as professional as we are, without the vetting and without the experience that we have. So that makes it a little easier.
You want to talk a little more about the Aging Life Care Association. When did you actually join Aging Life Care?
Probably 2010 or 2011, so quite a while.
Oh, even before you started the business, you were...
Yeah, before I started the business. So there are a number of organizations out there that people can join, and there's certifications. But this is the one I think that is at the highest level. And I think the main thing that differentiates us from all the other people who are out there in the senior care world is that part of our code of ethics and standard of practice is that we don't take referral fees, we don't take commissions. We are the advocate for our clients. So if I'm helping you with your mother, you're paying me and I am helping you with your mother. I'm not beholden to anybody else. And if I think your mother needs a certain home care agency like yours, or an assisted living, or a dog walker, it doesn't matter what, I will choose the people that I know that are the right fit for you.
Yes.
And not, this one's giving me $1,000 and that one's only giving me $500, so I'll take the one that, I don't do any of that.
You're also on the Committee of Ethics Standards.
I'm on the Standards Committee of the Aging Life Care Association, yes, and I really enjoy that. I was the chair, and now I'm going to stay on that committee forever, I think, because I really enjoy helping people think through ethical dilemmas.
I mean, something I have always been very impressed about. I mean, we'll get into the meat of everything that you're doing. But before that, something I have always been very impressed about what you do and how you do is the high ethical and the high integrity standards that you maintain. And you never wavered even once. I mean,
I get into trouble.
I know.
But I don't care.
It's not easy to do it. But you want to talk about that value part of it, about what you do?
Well, I think in a way, it leads out from a Jewish value called tikkun olam. And tikkun olam means repairing the world. And certainly I got this from my parents, I got this from my culture, but it's a sense we're out there to do good. Now, obviously, we also need to make enough money to pay for our bread and margarine. But
absolutely.
It's not that you're going out there and you're a saint, not at all. People say to me, you're a saint. And I'm not a saint. I'm a really good professional. And I think that's really important. So there's the professional side, but there's also the giving side. And that is so important.
It is important.
There's always that sense that I have of if I'm working with somebody, and most of my clients are very vulnerable. They're older people with dementia or with chronic illness, and there can be all kinds of sharks swirling around. As you all know, I mean, everybody out there are a lot of people out there who are just waiting to take advantage of older people.
Yes.
And so we can't be those people who take advantage. We have to be those who are supporting them and protecting them.
We are the ones protecting them. We are the gatekeepers, keeping the bad ones away.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to read this question to you because I wrote this down. You walk alongside families during incredibly vulnerable moments. How do you personally carry those stories without letting them overwhelm you? Because you get so close to the family and at times you feel it very personal. I mean, how do you, draw the lines on that?
Usually I'm very good at boundaries. And I think that's partly because I studied psychology and they brainwashed us into boundaries. You keep, even if you care deeply about a client, you keep your perspective. And that's why when people say to me, oh, you're a daughter for hire. No, I'm not. My strength is I'm not your daughter. I'm not too close. Again, I'm not saying it's never happened. Sometimes I feel myself getting too close, caring too much about a client. And then I go and get help. I talk to my therapist. I talk to my peers. I get consultations. I make sure that I keep my distance. Not distance in a cold way, but distance in a professional way, so I can still help this person. Because if I'm so involved and I'm too close, I can't see the full picture and I can't help.
People often think care management is about coordination, problem solving. Do you want to talk about care management? Because you and I, we know what you're talking about, but somebody who wants to hire the services of a care manager, there is a reason why there are not many care managers because nobody knows about this wonderful profession. So do you want to speak up a little bit about care management as a profession, why this is so important to the families? It'll hurt what they don't know. But do you want to speak more about that?
I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I think what differentiates a care manager from all these other professions is we have a very holistic view, very comprehensive view. I'm not just looking at your medical care or your home care or whether the assisted living is doing a proper job, whether you like your doctors, whether the family is managing to take care of an older person without too much stress. I'm looking at all of it. I don't deal with finances, but I find out more or less what's happening with the money, because if someone's income is $2,000 a month and they have $50,000 in savings, that's very different from someone who has $15,000 a month and $10 million in assets, right? So you have to look
completely different.
You have to look at what a person has, and I will never recommend things that a person can't afford because it doesn't make any sense. And as we know, everything is expensive. Home care is expensive. Care management is expensive. Assisted living is expensive. Unfortunately, most people don't plan. And that is something, actually, it's one of the things I enjoy most. If you think about, well, what do I do? I love meeting with people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, young, healthy people who are planning.
Okay.
And to have sometimes just one meeting with them. Or I have clients that we meet every 6 months or once a year just to check in. How are you doing? How are things at home? Have you looked at the different retirement communities? Have you decided you are staying home? How's it with the kids? How's it with the spouse? So just an overall sense of how their life is. So that's one part of my work, where really I'm just more of a consultant or a peer almost. But then sometimes I need to do a more in-depth assessment. And that's usually when there's some problem. Let's say it's this little old lady in Pasadena. I'm not leaving my home, only in a pine box. And the kids are tearing their hairs out, or the spouse is ready to drop because they can't take care of them anymore for many reasons.
Right.
It can be some cognitive issues, the beginning of dementia. It can be physical issues. And then what do you do? So come in and I do an assessment, and I do it very low key. And I say to the people, I have no power. I just have experience. I'm going to give you 100 recommendations, and you can say no to all of them.
Okay.
So I'm just coming in to see what can be done. Do you need a grab bar? Do you need someone to take you grocery shopping? Do you just need one of those life alert buttons? There could be little things that help people with their safety and calm the family down. But the assessment can also be in a very complex situation where there's very complex family dynamics. Everybody's fighting. The person obviously cannot cope on their own, and you've got all these different people pulling in different directions. The son says, Mom is fine. The daughter says, but I'm here with her and I can't take care of her anymore. And the crazy neighbor is saying, well, I'll take over. I can do it. And that's
you don't want that.
and that's where you really look into more in-depth the safety in the home, the medications. Do they have proper doctors? Do they have enough support in the home? And it's so individual. We always talk about creating a unique village. So there's each one of us, as we get older, we need a circle of care, we need support, we need people around us. Who are they? It depends. Sometimes it's only family. Sometimes it's only is the wrong word, only close friends. Or only neighbors. Sometimes it's professionals.
Yes.
It's varied so much that I never walk in. When I started this work, I would come in with an idea. Now I come in with no ideas. I talk and I listen and I watch and I find out what's going on, and then I make recommendations.
You get a lay of the land before you. Who hires a care manager? All hires a care manager?
It can be the older person themselves. It can be the spouse. It can be. I would say it's more usually adult children, but not necessarily. It really depends. As you can hear, the role can be very minimal. It can be a one-time consult. Sometimes if the parent says, I don't want any of this, all I do is have a consult with the adult children, maybe the children and the spouse, and give them some recommendations. And I never actually meet the person.
You worked with a lot of conservatorships, and there are some interesting, fun, not so fun, tense moments. Do you want to talk about any of them? That's
a little bit different. So I would say that when I'm working with a family, I only work with nice people. What do I mean by nice? People who really want help and are open to the help and listen. Because if they're not listening, then what are they paying me for?
Right.
The other kind of work is with professional fiduciaries and with the probate attorneys. And sometimes I also do expert 730 evaluations for the court.
Okay.
And this is just something else, but I'm now moving also into expert witness work, which is a different direction. But there it's very different. So why is a probate attorney, a fiduciary involved? Why is there a conservatorship? This is because there's been trouble. And the trouble can be all kinds of trouble. It can be a person who's been taken advantage of, or it can be a person who had no legal documents and actually just needs help, but they're fine. They just need someone who has the authority to make decisions.
Okay.
In many of the difficult conservatorships, you've got basically the court has taken control away from family because family is not doing a good job. And so there's a lot of stress. And the family can be very, very angry, and they can also try to undermine what the professional fiduciary is doing. And the rules are very different, because what people don't understand, it's not that the professional fiduciary does whatever they want. Professional fiduciary has under the oversight of the court, and they have to follow the court's rules. So the family thinks they're doing this stuff on purpose. They're not doing it on purpose. They're doing it because this is what the court tells them to do.
The court has directed them to do.
Directed the fiduciary to do.
Fiduciaries, okay.
And that's where a lot of interesting things happen.
I think you said something very important, the professional fiduciaries. Because the word or the term fiduciary has been out in the circles.
Yes. Okay, so we're talking about a California licensed professional
fiduciary. This is not a family.
No. They're licensed by the state. So sometimes a family member becomes a conservator.
This is not that you're talking about.
I can still help those people, but that's different. I'm talking about when you have a professional, a stranger.
Licensed,
who's come in and is basically has the authority to make all decisions.
So they come in and they are the manager for the estate, they are the manager for the person.
Well, it can be either or both.
Either or both of them.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then they're deciding which doctors, where they're going to live, what they're going to do, who's going to visit them. And this is all through the court. The fiduciary can't just say, I don't want Sam visiting.
Okay.
Because the son doesn't like that person, or that all has to go through the court, and it has to be authorized. And so as a care manager, when you're working with a fiduciary, you need to know the rules.
You need to know the rules.
On the one hand, it's important to still continue advocating very strongly for a client. I'm advocating for the client, not for the fiduciary, on the one hand. On the other hand, if you undermine the fiduciary, you're just making trouble. And so
that is true.
So there's this balance.
Right.
And for example, when I'm working with one of these clients and I talk to the caregivers, I say to them, we're all in this together, and we are under the fiduciary is under the court. It's not you working with a family where you can do whatever you like.
That's an important
it's different.
It's very different.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Not everybody understands it, but the fiduciary comes in. They are the one who have the authority and the responsibility, right? So it's very important for us to share that information with everyone else in the team. Yeah.
Depending on the professional fiduciary, some need more help, some need less help. I mean, we've had some clients together where we really feel that the fiduciary is the boss and is managing things really well. And we've had other situations where we've had to pick up the slack.
I know.
And that's fine.
So I'm going to put you on the spot right now. You want to talk about a specific incident without naming the client, of course. And you want to name a specific incident where the care manager being there in that moment made all the difference to that client. It could be a conservatorship case or, something where you had to pull the rabbit out of your hat.
I have to think about that one because there's so many interesting cases. For me, it's when I've worked with a client for a while and I know them. Typically, if it's someone with dementia, they're declining. So sometimes at the beginning, they can express more of who they are and what they like. And later on, you still remember those words and those requests, and you can continue to advocate for them. I think one very moving situation a number of years ago was a woman who told me her cancer had just come back and that she was pre-terminal. She was going to die soon. And at that time, she said to me, I don't want my friends in the room with me when I die.
Oh.
And I said, is it okay for a caregiver or a nurse to be there? So I was thinking ahead. She said yes.
Okay.
When the time came, the friends were everywhere. They were all around. And I said to the fiduciary, this is not what she wanted. So the fiduciary went in and said, everybody out. And they stayed in the living room. They were nearby. But in the room, there was a caregiver and a nurse. So she didn't die alone.
So you were able to honor the wishes.
So I was able to honor her wishes at a time when she was unable to speak for herself. And I think that's a very good example. And again, the fiduciary had that authority. I didn't have the authority to throw everyone out of the room.
Yeah,
I could only be the advocate.
But you had the information that you could share.
I could be the advocate, and I think that's what's so important. Yeah.
And many times you get to see family caregivers. They're exhausted and they don't have any more energy. What do you have for the family caregivers? What do you want to tell them so that they can help themselves? Well,
first of all, something that I say half seriously, half joking to many clients, I say to them, I want you to let me know 2 months before you either pack your bags and run away or drop dead. And they look at me like this. And I say, what am I saying? What you are doing is really, really hard. And you are the only one who can look deep into your own self and see how long you can continue doing this.
Right.
And if you stop because you're on the verge of collapse, then we can't have a plan.
Right.
But if you are monitoring yourself and you know when this is too hard and when you're going to need help, we can do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the help is just a day off a week. Sometimes it's a weekend away once a month. Sometimes it's just an hour a day. It really depends. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
And some people say, I'm just not built for this. I can't do it. And my family member needs to move. I've learned not to judge any of this because each of us has our own inner ability. And I think the most important thing that I say to family members is you want to stay the spouse, the adult child, the grandchild. You don't want to become the nagger, the bully, the witch.
I know, yeah.
Because that's where you get to, not because you're a bad person, but because you're taking care of someone where it is almost impossible to keep going and be patient and be nice. I walk into people's homes and they say, oh, you're so patient. I'm patient for an hour or 2 hours. They have to be patient 24 hours.
I know.
It's too hard.
It's emotionally and physically very draining. And the unfortunate part of it is, nobody sees them except people like you, you really see them and you try to help them.
Well, that's why support groups are so important and counseling is so important. And there are a lot of resources out there. I would also say that if you can afford it and you're thinking of bringing in some care in the home, or if you're thinking of them going to a day program, start it early, start it in small amounts so that you and your family member get used to it. Because bringing strangers into the house isn't easy.
It's not easy. And
the earlier you do it, even if it's just 2 hours, 3 times a week, I don't know, or a day a week, that helps the family get used to the fact, oh, somebody can come and help me. It's very similar to people sending their baby off to childcare for the first time or leaving them with a nanny. And an older person, of course, you have to respect them as an adult. They're not a kid. But from the family's emotional point of view, it's very similar. Nobody can do this like I can do it. But of course they can. I mean, not as well as you, but they can do it okay.
They can do it okay.
Can be okay.
Yeah. And it's important to have that. I mean, if the parents, like the example you gave, if you're not letting the child go to the school at all, I mean, that's not good for the kid too, right? Yeah. I mean, so at some point, you need to let the professionals take care of the family. I mean, it's important.
Yeah, I used to say that people are always better at home when I first started. And I realized that's not true. Sometimes being at home with care is the best. Sometimes moving into an assisted living is the best. And sometimes nothing's the best and you just find the least awful. Right.
I mean, we had to find a third solution. Yeah. 16 years back, I didn't even know what a care manager was, what they do and things like that. If you were to speak to people like me who, at that stage of my life, what do you want to tell them about the care management as a profession?
To become a care manager or to work with care managers?
Things. About care management as a profession, what one needs to understand about a care management position.
I think just that if you're working in the senior care space, working with care managers can be very, very helpful. Whatever your profession, whether you're doing home care like yourself, or you're doing placement, or you're doing any other kind of work, realtors, if you can work with people in my profession, you can really help your clients because there are things that I can say that you can't say. Even a simple example with home care. If you, as the owner of the home care agency, say to a family, you only have a caregiver 4 hours a week, 4 hours a day, you really need to go up to 8 hours. They'll say, forget it. You just want money.
Right. I mean, it's, conflict of interest for me.
If I say it because I really think this person isn't safe, that's different.
It is different, yeah.
And I think that's where there's the power of the partnership with other professions, where we all have our own skills and we have our own scope. And we can partner and really work together.
One of the things I have always admired about you, Brenda, is you are a mentor. You're a mentor to new upcoming care managers. And I thought about that quite a bit. You don't even think they're going to be my competition. You spend a lot of your personal time trying to help them up speed and, trying to introduce them to various folks. Why do you do that?
Well, there's the very selfish reason. I'm going to need somebody when I'm older to take care of me. So I have to make sure that there are good people out there. So
I'm sure there is more than that.
People were very supportive and gracious to me. And I feel that I want to do the same. It was so helpful for me to have more experienced, more settled care managers provide me with support and with advice. And so I definitely want to do that for other people. I also think this is a very important profession. And if we don't bring in younger people, many care managers now are my age and older.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
Right.
We need the 30 and 40-year-olds.
Right.
Not everyone in their 20s can do this work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they can't, but I think you do need a little bit of life experience. You need a little bit of knowing what's going on before you do this kind of work. But I really enjoy seeing younger people flourish. I enjoy seeing their take on things because it's different.
I mean, are you doing anything through the ALCA organization to start career courses for upcoming graduates?
They have some stuff. They don't have enough. There are some classes out there. There are some university courses, but there's not enough.
Not enough.
Within ALCA, there is some training. We have these groups, I don't even remember what it stands for, MRGs, member resource groups.
Okay.
Which are only for members, people who are care managers who are members. So we have a lot of affiliates. And the MRGs are a place, I'm the co-facilitator for one of these, where people can just talk. I don't know what software to use. I had this really difficult case and I don't know what to do. I don't know what kind of contract I need. So any sort of questions like that, we can talk to each other and get sort of peer support.
That's so wonderful.
So that's really nice.
And is there any word of advice you're going to give them to prevent them from getting burnout?
Try not to work too hard. That's what I see in some of my
work smarter, not harder.
I see that in some of my colleagues, and I say to myself, I have to have time for myself. It's difficult. I'm a solo practitioner. So if you're in a bigger company, it's different. But as a solo practitioner, I'm basically always on duty.
Yes.
Even though my clients know not to call me at 3 a.m. unless it's an emergency, I will answer the phone at 3 a.m. if it's an emergency. It doesn't happen very often. But so that there is that level of ongoing responsibility, which I think if you're in a bigger practice and people can cover for you, that does take a little of the pressure away. But it's important not to take on too many clients, not to get overwhelmed, to also choose. Obviously, when you're starting out, you take whatever comes. But I think as it goes along, it's important to choose clients that you feel comfortable with and that are not too stressful or too frustrating. Not easy.
So, I mean, Brenda, you have so much knowledge, so much information right now. If you were sitting across your younger self and having a fireside chat with your younger self, what would you tell her? You
can do it. I had no idea. Like when I started my business, I did it out of desperation. I had 2 young kids. I was going through a divorce. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to start a business. After I saw my first client, and she was referred by a colleague, I had to take her. I met her for an hour and I decided this isn't right for me. And I referred her on to someone else. And even though, I barely had food for my kids, it gave me such a sense of power. I decide.
That's your integrity.
Who I'm going to work with and who's right for me. And that was just such a revelation because I'd never had that before. I'd always worked for bigger employers. They would give me my clients on a plate, but I had to take everybody. And now I only work with the people where it feels right. And it's not just if I feel right, they have to feel right. It can be very intimate. It can be very personal. I can ask some difficult questions. People don't like me to ask them, well, how do you manage when you go to the bathroom? Are you wearing incontinence underwear? Nobody wants to talk about that, but it's really important.
It's important, yeah. I
mean, are you managing? Oh, you're having a lot of accidents. It's leaking. Maybe you need better incontinence supplies. Who wants to talk about that? So you have to have a certain level of trust and support and not just, I'm coming in as the expert and I'm telling you what to do. That doesn't work. I would say that's also one of my ways of working with some very stubborn people. I walk in and they're like this and they say, okay, I say, you think I'm here because your son, I had a specific case. You think I'm here because your sons forced you to meet with me? Yeah. I'm not here for that. I'm here to get your sons off your back. Really? Okay, how do we do it? And we did it.
She opens up immediately.
In the end, I got the wife to tell the husband to do the things that the kids had been begging them to do for 2 years because I helped them stay in power and in control. And just because I'm 85 doesn't mean I'm an idiot. And that's what people think.
Yeah.
They think that they
want to be seen as real people.
They think that their kids are taking over. Everybody of that generation thinks they're going to be dumped in a nursing home. They don't understand that even if you want to go into a nursing home these days, it's not simple.
Okay.
Good luck getting into a nursing home. But there's that, they saw what happened to their parents and their grandparents. And whatever the kids say, they don't believe them. You just want to get rid of me. You just want to dump me. And it's not, sometimes it's true, but mostly it isn't. And that's where I have to break that sort of suspicion, antagonism, and start helping people work together. And that's when it works.
Wonderful. Care management is not just about systems and processes. It's about presence, humanity, and holding space. Brenda, thank you so much for coming on our program today. You are amazing. I heard that a million times from me, but I cannot help but repeat it. You are an amazing presence in our community. So thank you for everything you do. And before we close, if anybody were to contact you, how would they reach you? Do you want to share your contact information?
Well, before that, I want to say thank you, Sam, for inviting me here. And really, we've been partners in crime in some very interesting cases. Which
yes,
unfortunately, we can't share because it's confidential.
It is.
But I think I want to go back to that sense of building the unique village and bringing in the trusted people who can support our clients. You can go to shorkendcare.com and all the information is there.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.